What are the most common misconceptions amongst junior developers? This is the question that I took to Reddit to get senior developers' opinions on what juniors are getting wrong. And the response was pretty substantial. Matija and I, my coworker, we took it upon ourselves to go through the comments, summarize them, and give our thoughts. To give a little background, Matija and I are part of a team building a new full-stack web app framework. So we have a lot of questions that come up in this space, and in order for us and our team to feel confident in what we're building and what direction we're going in, we have to learn about and answer a lot of these questions for ourselves. So we figured, why not share this learning process with you all? So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I posted this question after talking to some other people in Discord on other servers and stuff, just kind of trying to get a sense of what are the most common misunderstandings or misconceptions amongst junior developers. And because a lot of people are saying, wow, that's a really good question, I thought, okay, let's ask the web dev subreddit. And
who better than web dev in general?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's here.
Yeah, exactly. And so the question is directed at senior devs. What are the most damaging misconceptions amongst junior developers? And it kind of took off. It says we got 93,000 views and 225 comments. So we're taking it upon ourselves, Matija and I, to go through all these comments and give our very valuable opinions on them.
It's funny to me how we have more comments than upvotes. So either some people downvoted us first and then commented, or
it says we have a 97%
I'm
upvote
not
rate.
sure. Or just commented without upvoting. They were so keen to leave there to share their knowledge.
Did we get ratioed then? Is that the proper term when you get ratioed on Twitter when you get more comments than likes? I don't know if that's a good sign or not. Okay, so most common misconceptions, like right off the bat, this guy posted one of the most common damaging misconceptions amongst junior developers is that you are going to come back and clean that up later.
Yeah, nice. And if you can see, this one got like more upvotes than the original question, which is like 3x.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't realize that.
Which is crazy.
We're getting ratioed all over the place here.
All over the place. No, I think this is very cool. This is like it seems like very straightforward at first. Just something you would say, like this is the thing that happens all the time. But I think it contains some of the wisdom from the seniority and being in programming for some time.
Yeah.
Because it kind of covers both that you have to accept that things are going to change.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, you have to either way or another way, it's going to change somehow. And on the other hand, like it doesn't have to be perfect at the first attempt, which is something I think the juniors, and when I was also more of a junior, I always felt the pressure to get it right at the first try. In your perspective, how is it? Did you hear it from when you were working with other developers? Did you hear them saying something like this, or you kind of felt it that way?
I mean, for me, that was never the case. When I was in my first job as a junior, I never thought about, hey, I'm gonna go back and clean that up later. But like the thing I thought immediately about was, add it to the backlog kind of thing, where it's like, oh yeah, we can get to that later, and it's like, no, you're never. The backlog already has 100, 200 tickets in it. Like that is that is
the reality.
Unrealistic.
It's what backlog. It's what backlog is for. Only the strongest issues survive.
That's a good one. Only the strongest issues survive. But I mean, this is something like as I scrolled through that comes up a lot, where it's like this kind of managing expectations was a theme that I saw a lot in the replies. And I think that's hard when you're a junior to know. It's one of those things you don't have a lot of experience with. You're trying to figure out what is right here. Do I go for speed, or do I go for quality? Or what do they want out of me? Does it need to be this good? Should it be better? So these are a lot of like insecurities, I think, that kind of come up. But what's interesting here is that you see now, like, he says in the reply, which I thought was pretty interesting, that juniors, like point being juniors, code review is not personal. So I think these guys were coming more from a code review perspective. So like I
Yeah.
imagine then a senior saying, "Yeah, could be better," and the junior saying, "Oh yeah, it's okay, it works for now. I'll come back and get to it later," you know. And
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
this is kind of like an insecure response maybe from a junior where it's like, "Hey, I did the work. It's working. I worked so hard on this. Why do I have to
Like,
change
why
it?"
is it not going in? I just want my first PR,
Yeah, exactly.
merged. Like, I
Yeah,
want to have that badge, on
yeah,
my profile or wherever.
yeah. Or
Yeah,
I saw a YouTube video on this is how you're supposed to do it. It's got to be this way, you know. Like
yeah.
this is how it should be.
Yeah, no, I think juniors, like you have a lot of kind of concepts and some ideas on how to do things from either university or like a boot camp you were, attending or whatever. But
Mm,
it's not always like so easy to translate it to to the reality of your company that you are working in.
yeah,
So I think it's you have to expect to be coached a lot in the beginning. Just
yeah,
kind of to understand what kind of solutions does this product need. Sometimes it needs to be super fast,
yeah.
and sometimes it's more on the side of like quality and being maintainable and similar.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the end, nobody really likes being told what to do or that they're doing something wrong. Like these are really
Yeah,
hard things to deal with, but this is basically what you want as a junior. You want to be told
exactly,
where you can
exactly.
and improve. And it was interesting. I asked Jack Harrington in his, I believe his name is Jack Harrington, the one that does blue
Yeah, yeah, it
collar
is.
coding. Really
Yeah,
good. He does no BS TS, so like no bullshit TypeScript, and he has
nice.
React, tons of great videos. And he said the opposite. When I asked him this question personally, he said he was arrogant in the beginning. He said that like, don't be arrogant from the beginning. Like, don't think that you know everything just because you're starting to figure things out. Be humble, be open to criticism and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
that was
No, I think it
interesting.
goes for both. Yeah, and I think it goes for both sides. It can
Yeah,
be also like it can sometimes happen that senior developers they don't have the patience for like explaining
true.
why something better than the other thing, or just do it my way, don't ask any questions.
Yeah,
So they should see it as a part of mentoring, coaching, transferring this implicit knowledge they have about
yeah.
the code base. So I think yeah,
Yeah, yeah, really good point. Yeah, let's see. We'll go through some more of these. Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
again,
exactly.
see, it's
Like
not personal.
yeah,
Seniors need to give constructive and useful feedback that builds habits. And what I was thinking more of, I was surprised that Jack said that because I was thinking more about you hear about imposter syndrome all the time,
yeah,
and I think that is perhaps the dominant feeling amongst juniors is that you're kind of lost in this sea of information. You're in the production project or like production code. The code base is huge. You feel
yeah,
overwhelmed a lot of
yeah.
times. But yeah,
And I
like
guess you feel if somebody comments like, "Oh, you should do it the other way," like you feel like you did it wrong, right? Oh,
yeah,
I just started and I already messed something up. Like
yeah,
I already made a mistake. But
yeah,
that's not the case. Like that is expected, right?
yeah.
I think that's maybe what they say. Don't take it personally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's really good advice in general. So I'm gonna skip down through some, maybe two. I liked some of these to remember. Oh yeah, this is great. So we know this guy. We know
He's
this guy.
familiar. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, I don't know, like some cool guy. I bet he has super cool brother for some
He is
reason.
a super cool. So Martin is twin brother of Matija,
Yeah,
and
exactly. He's just somewhere there in the
yeah,
background right now,
co-founder.
doing the work while we are chatting.
Yeah, we get the
Yeah,
fun stuff. We get the fun jobs.
yeah,
I personally, because I didn't, you don't look so much at the names. I didn't pick this to be like, oh yeah, our team has such great managers. But I just really liked what he said, coming from my perspective as more of a junior, is that, or having more recently gone through the process, is that he said something here about managing expectations. Where is that? So, yeah, this depends on the manager, but he said, I usually define expectations for juniors that it's more important to get the stuff done right than fast. They're still learning, and I want them to learn and write quality code. Once they get a handle on that, we can start working on speed. That I think is great.
yeah. No, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I really like that. But I must say, when we went through a lot of the replies, a lot of other replies were business, like the new the new devs sometimes have a problem putting business before ideals. So it's like,
Ooh,
we
yeah.
have to work fast. We have a client or we have a deadline and we need to get this done. Working code, it's hard to beat working code. Like it works, let's go with it for now.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit at
True.
odds with that. And so I think it
Yeah.
brings up a good point though that like sometimes
Yeah.
as a junior, quality is more important, but there are times when you just got to deliver.
Yeah, no, it's a very good kind of observation, and I think in that case, you should just kind of go with what your senior developer or product manager like they should basically like relay what's more important to them at this point. Like hey, like just get it done, and we will talk about it later. Or look, let's use this opportunity to actually learn new about our code base, the best practices.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our situation, we mostly we could afford time to actually, and I mean, we saw it as an investment, right? Because if we invest time now in developers, basically to teach them about our code base and how we do stuff, they are going to be much faster later, and it's going to be much easier to maintain our code base.
Yeah.
So typically, I think also what helped a lot, what we learned when Martin and I, lead developers in one previous company, was to set these expectations. Basically, say, look, your first PR is probably going to be, like 100 comments, maybe even, and get prepared for it.
Cool.
It's nothing personal, but like your PR, it's not just a PR. It's actually me teaching you, like transferring knowledge to you.
And the other way
Because
around. I mean, Martin has said that to
and
me before as well, where he's like,
yeah,
also, you might be working on something that I don't have experience with or haven't touched yet. And I want to be able to know from your code what I'm looking at. Make it easy so that we can work on it again in the future if it comes up. That was something he said that I really liked. Like,
yeah,
let's make sure that if
exactly.
any of us come back to this a year later, or someone comes to it a year later for the first time, they can get started right away on it.
True.
Yeah.
Because yeah, whatever new kind of part of functionality, Junior adds, it can be like perfect, but it has to fit into the general theme of your code base, kind of follow the same practices. If everybody is doing it one way and now you're introducing it another way, it's going to be hard for somebody to understand why is that so. So
Yeah.
yeah, as our supreme leader Martin would say, yeah, this was
Yeah.
we are quoting Martin a lot, but yeah, he's really good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what did else someone say? Further down in the replies, I read that what we're going for with quality is not end user experience so much. So what your users like, they won't notice any difference in performance in the app, let's
Yeah.
say, but it improves our overall developer velocity. Like we can keep momentum
Yeah.
when everything, like you're saying, is consistent, or when there's quality, we can keep momentum. So what may seem like, you holding the team back an extra week, missing the deadline or something, might actually be beneficial in the long run to keep momentum going.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's the eternal battle, between developing fast and developing with quality. And there is never like you can never be just on one side, at least not for long. So there always has to be some kind of trade-off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think developers will always try, especially code owners, they will try to kind of instill that feeling of quality and how it's going to pay off later.
Yeah. Let's see what he said here. He said I used to defend my point of view.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing.
Because I didn't want to look stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Like, you feel like it's your fault because now you have to defend your position because otherwise you're going to be the one who doesn't know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
You will be labeled.
Yeah. But someone else wrote somewhere as well, further down in the replies, that like, even after 20 years, there's always a different way to do something. There's always a possibly better way to do it. You have to always keep an open mind, no matter how much experience you have. Let's see if we got something. Yeah, I think this is what I mentioned earlier. High quality code only indirectly affects users. The main purpose is to keep development velocity high, which benefits all stakeholders. I mean, that's hard. Exactly. It's hard to keep in mind when you're trying to just meet the deadline of a ticket or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
No, it's more like second order effect. You don't see it until it hits you, right? When you have all this tech debt, and then you're like, oh, now we can't move, and PMs are like what was happening? Now why can we just add this new feature? And then you have to explain because we skipped all the steps in the last 6 months or something.
Yeah, totally. Let's see. Maybe I go back to the next one. This one, to be honest, I'm not sure what he means here. Is the biggest one I've learned along the years is thinking that proof of concept won't be used in production.
Okay.
What do you think he's talking about?
Yeah, it's like a lot of things, that you wouldn't expect are going to end up in production. Sometimes, I mean, it happened to us, when we were discovering, like, what's the best way to do something, and then you will find, like, like three different approaches. And, this one is like really simple, but it's a bit too simple. Like, you wouldn't do
Mm,
it that way, right? Like, you would do something else.
yeah.
And then you ask other people around, and it turns out everybody's doing it this way.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And then you're like, okay, I'm also doing it, this way. And obviously, it has like a lot of drawbacks and stuff,
Mm.
but actually, it works, and it can hold for long enough until you have to like really optimize it or scale or whatever. So
So do you
this
think?
one is super. This one is super true. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that's more like um, it's surprising because let's say that proof of concept that you created doesn't follow conventions, and then it
Yeah, it's
turns
more
out
like
that everyone is
yeah.
breaking those rules, or what?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
breaking, some of those, kind of quality code rules in like
Yeah.
some very obvious way, and like
Yeah.
you feel very stupid for even proposing it to somebody. Hey, let's
Mm.
do it this way, when it's obvious, like it's not, what it should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then everybody's, like looking at each other, like, yeah, yeah, we shouldn't do it this way,
But
yeah.
but it
But everybody's
works.
actually doing it this way.
And then you ask other teams, and everyone's actually, nah, yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like it's okay for now. Yeah, yeah.
But then it just stays. It
Exactly.
just
And then
stays
you
that
forget
way.
about it, and you just live with it, and you enforce your code quality at other places. But this is like your point of shame that you
Okay,
tell
got
nobody
it.
about.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that like that piece of
It
duct tape,
happens
that piece of
more
duct
often
tape
than, yeah,
holding the
yeah,
whole thing
exactly.
together has been there way too long.
It's there, you just cover it with something, with a cardboard or something, so nobody sees, but
Yeah.
it's there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I get it. Because that's something that actually comes up quite a lot. That's like another overarching theme in a lot of these comments was um, don't stick too hard to conventions sometimes.
Mm.
You've read or you've learned in the book that you should, keep it simple, don't repeat yourself, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, sometimes you bend the
Yeah.
rules, so to speak. You don't necessarily break them, but like you do, but maybe that happens less
Sometimes even
often.
that,
But
yeah.
sometimes there are cases where you have to do this kind of stuff. And
Yeah, very true. And I mean,
yeah,
when they always say, first you learn the rules and then you are allowed to break them or bend them. So, when you
yeah,
know what you are doing, then, it's much less harmful than when you are doing it without even having an idea
yeah,
what is the problem
yeah.
might be. So, yeah.
Yeah, look at this guy said, I have code from my junior days that is embarrassingly messy and ineffective and still in use in a production
Yeah,
system.
no, it's just hard to beat working code, right?
Yeah, exactly. Someone said that down here in the replies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
I think it
true.
goes
Yeah.
probably even for not even just for juniors. Like you said, get something working, get a quick fix in there, and then it stays there for an
It
embarrassingly
happens.
long
It happens.
time.
I think but as long as it is kind of properly documented and outlined, and you leave a nice big to do, and everybody is aware of it,
Mm,
then it's much better than just doing it and nobody understands what's going on. So I think that's maybe the biggest difference
yeah,
because doing something knowingly, why you did it so such a bad way, versus just doing it because you didn't know better.
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, there's that phrase someone said. It's hard to beat working code.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But
Yeah,
it's you're treading on dangerous territory
exactly.
there when you
If it
start.
works,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Junior's misconception number one: they tend to think that there's one and only one solution to a problem, and the senior knows it.
Oh yeah, yeah. The senior holds the knowledge and hiding it from everybody else, right?
Yeah, you can only do it that way.
Yeah,
But like they said before, there's like always many ways to do it, and probably there's a better way to do it than the way you've implemented. But I
yeah,
think the thing that he's getting at here, and that's something that I struggled with, didn't struggle with, but like something that I was very aware of a lot of the times was, okay, when am I asking too many questions or when am I not asking enough questions? So someone said to me, a senior developer said to me, like, if you are really like, know when is the right time to ask a question. Don't stay struggling on a problem for too long, because there is a time, there's a certain point where you're losing, where it's
yeah. You just
suboptimal. You could have finished
Exactly.
it earlier if you had just asked for help, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. You should do some of the research, try to do it yourself, maybe give it like a couple of tries, but then if you are really stuck, you
Mm,
should ask. But yeah, I mean, it's a skill. Like, I think you learn it by doing.
mm,
But yeah, I would say often developers can err on the side of not asking because again, they're afraid, they don't want
yep.
to to look stupid, or they don't
Yeah.
want to bother, mighty senior developer.
Mm,
So yeah, it's again like something that you need to kind of learn how to balance. Yeah.
yeah. But you don't want to be the dude always every time you
Yeah,
have
like
something new. Yeah,
no, the worst thing which happens is that when junior developer is afraid of asking senior developer, and then he asks another junior developer,
yeah. And then they're
and
both
this is
stuck
where
for way too long
exactly
on
they are
something.
both stuck, or
Yeah,
the other junior developers like comes up with some really messy solution,
yeah,
and then senior later has to untangle it. I think this is kind of what should be like discouraged. Like, don't go asking other juniors. Better ask me immediately.
yeah, yeah. Yep. I
Yeah.
mean, although there's a lot of benefit in trying to working with the problem and trying to figure it out yourself. But again, you have to figure out that balance. Like someone was saying, that business sometimes comes first. Getting the things done quickly is sometimes more important than what you might have in mind. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, kind of business requirements always drive everything, so
yeah.
that should be all properly communicated through
Mm,
managers, product managers, senior developers. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Cool. Let's see what else we got. More code is the answer. Or
Always write
equally
more code.
frustrating, less code is the answer.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
who can make the sweetest one-liner that
Yeah.
is
Code golfing.
code golfing. I personally
Yeah.
find that pretty annoying because um, I don't know how you feel about this, but when constantly breaking up code into smaller chunks and removing functions and trying to make it super clean, for me makes it to a point where it's unreadable. And as a junior,
Yeah.
it's like I want to keep things in context. Like I don't mind if there's a lot of
Like,
functions with in a row. Like
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
have to be all here and separate in different files. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, true. No, I used to be that guy who was trying to like optimize everything, like
Uh,
save every line, like look everything, like make everything super, super short and like super slick.
yeah,
But yeah, in the end, it just bites you. And yeah, I mean, readability should come first.
yeah,
And that kind of, everybody appreciates it. When you have nice names, although they are longer than they might be in some other case, it really helps.
yeah,
So yeah, names, I like, readable and meaningful names.
yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
kind of
something
my fetish in coding.
yeah, but that's something I learned like coming in onto a team really quick. What I saw really quickly is like, oh wow, I mean, even if the names are somewhat long, but like something that answers that tells you what it's doing, and you can read it and
Yeah.
okay, this is going to return a boolean because of how it's written, or
Yeah,
this
super
is
helpful. Like,
yeah,
is something, is this, right? Yeah, no, it's super helpful.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're kind of learning on your own, or you're just starting out and you're just working on your own little side projects and stuff like that, and you just
It's just like A, B, C,
yeah,
like where one, where two.
everything commented out,
Yeah.
super
Yeah,
ugly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. This one is that brings up a controversial subject that I think is kind of dying out, to be honest. That lead code or HackerRank or these
Yeah, like
algorithm
quick
focused.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see many people that trained a whole generation of engineers, perhaps, to get these short, clever solutions. But I mean, most companies, I don't even know if like the big FANG companies are interviewing in that style anymore. Do you?
I think they do to some extent, but
Yeah.
not so thoroughly, or like it's not. I think it's kind of dying out, as you said.
Yeah.
Like I think they realize it's not maybe the best way to
Yeah.
kind of gauge if somebody's a good developer or not. I think
Yeah.
now everybody is kind of starting to appreciate those communication skills both in code and
Yeah.
out of the code
Yeah.
much more than before, which I agree with. I also think this is
Yeah.
the right way
Yeah.
to approach it.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So
Yeah,
it says dry, ruined web.
don't repeat yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't repeat yourself. Ruined web development. People learn it too early, which leads to unreasonable abstractions and hundreds of overpowered utilities per project. Yeah, I saw this come up a lot. Like this guy says, I hate over-engineered reusable components. that have like a billion flags, so it's like one thing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
can do
like
a million things. Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess this comes from the don't repeat yourself idea.
Yeah, you feel like if you use the one thing in the two places, like that has to be abstracted. It cannot be like you can't stand it. And I think it's like a good way to think about it. I think we all have that urge to abstract. That's just stronger than us. But yeah, often, especially junior developers, they should defer it. Just to see how the code evolves, because oftentimes what you thought was the same thing will turn out not to be the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have to kind of unfold it, everything, separate it into like two separate classes or functions or whatever you abstracted. So I think this is like a very common
Yeah.
kind of misconception. Yeah.
I guess if you've got the same button component or whatever and copy and
Yeah.
paste it a million times over your project, that's something you want to abstract away or just create one
Exactly.
component.
There is a common functionality, of course, like you have to get it out. But in some cases, if you just do it like twice or three times, maybe it's better to wait a bit to see, how it grows, how it evolves, and then you are going to be smarter.
Yeah.
But I think it's also hard because you learn about dry, about those kind of development patterns, and you learn all of this. You have like the whole arsenal of the tools, with yourself, and you're just tempted to use it. Like like I recognize this one. This is bridge, or this is decorator. Finally, I get to use it in a real world.
Yeah, I think that might be the problem of learning those things before you actually get exposed to a big project, to a team project sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm the kind of person that like when I'm working, I'll just copy and paste stuff. Like things can be really messy in the beginning, but I want to get it working and then start to chisel it down maybe. But I have to be honest, like I don't apply because I didn't learn these principles at a university or in my self-study. So like this wasn't on my mind when I started, and I don't know.
It's maybe it's advantage maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do
No,
some
I mean I
things
think
backwards.
you'll learn it either way. Either you'll learn it in university and then you try to use it, then you get slapped on your fingers.
Yeah.
Or you don't learn it and then basically somebody says, which is actually a better way to go.
Yeah.
When senior says like, okay, you should abstract this way, then this is like a great learning moment. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to. So this guy, let's see, he left a big one, and he kind of summarized a lot of what we're talking about. So I think this is kind of cool because it just summarizes a lot of the comments that we've had. 23 years in tech, so many difficult things to think of. It's hard to think of a concise list, but business comes first. Like that's something we brought up a lot. Let's see, patterns don't matter. He says, yeah, they do, but in the end, working code matters more. I don't know. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's exactly what we discussed. Just with dry. This is pretty much also dry, the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Abstracting patterns, they do matter, but they have. There is a time when it's worth to refactor or start using it.
Yeah. I like this one because we haven't brought that up yet. Tech doesn't matter, but this is something I guess because I kind of have strong opinions about that, and I agree. I think like too many people think you have to use X, you have to use Z. Like this is the new thing, and there's a lot of debate around should you be using this framework or that framework, should you be using that technology or this technology, and this guy just puts it like makes a great point. You can write any old app however you want. I mean, a lot of these things, it comes down to, it depends. What matters most is team experience and direction. Does it work for your team? Does it work for your goals?
100%. No, it's again, I think forever developers are going to debate, what is better, what is worse, what should be used.
Yeah.
But I think, true senior, developers, they understand what comes first. And that is, just, making your idea a reality. And depending, like you want your team to be comfortable, to be fast. So no, I agree with this one. Although we are developing a new web framework, it shouldn't be like you shouldn't use something just because it's new. That shouldn't ever be because it's sexy. It's like cool new thing.
Or even things change so fast that you have sometimes these tutorials like MERN stack, the Mongo, Express, React, or what is it? Mongo Express, React Node, something
Yeah,
like that.
mean is with Angular,
With
and learn
Angular.
is with React.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have something like you've learned that, and then you think like, ah, that's what everyone's using, or that's what I should use, or whatever, you know. And even those
Yeah.
now that's outdated, and there's something else that you should be learning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think people often feel disappointed. You just learned, like, for example,
Mm.
mean, and now it's React. And you're like, god damn it, I just learned Angular. Now I have to
Yeah.
scratch everything
Yeah.
and
But the
start from the
truth is,
beginning. But
if you can learn that
yeah,
stuff, how long will it take you
it's
to
it's very it's
transfer?
very transferable. Like
Yeah.
if you know React, I mean Angular, it's very similar. It has like a lot of similar concepts to
Yeah.
React. It is just kind of like upgrade in some ways,
Yeah.
just different. So it's not like it's not wasted time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And then, like we mentioned that already, there's a better way to do everything. I mean, he's pretty harsh here. Whatever you learned is wrong.
Okay, this is a harsh one,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean you should be open minded. I think
Yeah.
that's the point. Yeah.
Open mind. Yeah, definitely. Old people matter.
Yeah, we are becoming older, so that goes in our favor.
Yeah. Don't forget to laugh at the senior developers' dad jokes. You know?
Yeah.
Old people matter, but he says everyone matters, which I like. I mean, I think a lot of times the young senior developer gets idealized today in tech, but at the same time, you know, the people have been around for a while. They might not use the tech stack that you do, but they've got wisdom and knowledge. But also the juniors, you know. He said I've had juniors put things to me that I've never thought of. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, nobody should be discounted. Like everybody should be appreciated, for what they bring to the table. Is it experience or is it just set fresh pair of eyes?
Yeah.
Fresh pair of eyes. Exactly. So everybody should be appreciated, and everybody can bring a lot to the table. I think they just it can be like mind blowing. When you combine those two traits, it can be like super good.
Yeah. Cool. Well, is there anything else you want to say about damaging misconceptions amongst junior devs?
Ooh, I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah.
It seems like the whole Reddit poured their soul into this one, which I really like.
Yeah. It leaned more on kind of career expectations and more so than like technical skills.
It was like technical, maybe intricacies or like some specifics, which makes sense because we set it very broadly.
Yeah, true.
And this is how people answer. But yeah, I think we could kind of dig into those specific topics, like specifically about PRs, what is the best way to do it, how should you react, what should be your tone, and we could talk again like how to understand the business side, what are the different scenarios you might be in, and different times of the company. So I think we can talk a lot, and we could maybe even follow up on this, kind of ask specific kind of questions afterwards. But yeah, I think this was like a really good start, like a really good summary of just what is out there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think in the end, like the thing that really stuck out to me is, especially as a junior, is keeping an open mind. Because, like you said, what's the best way to do PRs? You might read one person's blog post, and then your team does it differently, or you go from one team to the next, and it's totally different. So, with all these things, it depends. It's great to keep an open mind and
exactly. In the end, it's not even connected to programming, right? It's just general life advice. Whatever you do, like do you breed horses or you do
it's true
PRs?
though. Yeah, it's true though. It's like that should be the next one. Senior devs,
horse master. You should listen to him.
Senior devs, give us your best life advice, your best life wisdom.
In the end, it's life wisdom. Just respect others. Don't think you're stupid because you made a mistake.
Yeah.
And keep an open mind.
Yeah,
that goes. So you see, we just educated everybody for life.
No question is a dumb question.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. All right, I think we can end it on that.
Awesome. Yeah, this was really cool. I enjoyed it. Hope others also will.
Yeah.
And looking forward to the next one.
Cool.